Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something. Izzo.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Friday morning. Welcome to the We're Out of Here edition after today. It is Friday, 8th day of May, 2026. Steamrolling into the big weekend. It's fishing opener weekend, Mother's Day weekend. We're ready to rock and roll. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Hot Mic on this 8th day of May, 2026. I am Dom Izzo, host of said show. Welcome to our program here today as we wrap up the week in style. It's a busy weekend. I mentioned it. If you are racing out there to get something for mom, make sure you take care of that ASAP. The Jack Man is all over it. He's good to go. So we're all set there. And there's no shortage of things going on. I always used to equate this, used to be the trifecta of things we had going on, because there were some years we had the fishing opener and the Fargo Marathon would actually be on the same weekend. They've moved that now. The marathon is now at the end of May, which is frankly terrible because it coincides with the busiest high school sports weekend of the year, where there's 6 separate tournaments happening at the same time. But there, as I mentioned, there's no shortage of things happening over the next few days. Playoffs happening with the Wolves and the Wild. There's a bunch of spring sports going on because we finally can get outside, which is good stuff, and looking forward to chatting about all that here over the next couple hours or so. Lot to get to today. We'll talk some Twins with our guy Cory Provus. We'll show you what happened with their game yesterday in Washington. It was a newsy Thursday. With the NCAA basketball tournament expansion certainly grabbed, I think, of a lot of the headlines, at least for the people that I interact with and follow. That was the big story yesterday. We had talked about it, that it was expected to go through. It eventually did. We're going to show you later on in the show what this is going to look like, because I think once you physically see what the bracket of 76 entails, it's, I don't know if jarring is probably too strong a word. It's just different. We're also going to hear from Bison men's basketball coach Dave Richman, who never pulls any punches, about his thoughts on the expansion. And we went, actually, I was just wanting to talk to him about the expansion. We got a full update on everything going on with the Bison men. So that's coming up later on in the show. But the one thing that was all over my timeline yesterday was centering on a group of 20 people that weren't even together meeting over video chat to potentially decide North Dakota State's immediate football future. And it was supposed to go yesterday. The FBS Oversight Committee met through video conference from 11:30 to 1:30 yesterday Eastern time. So 12:30 it was scheduled to be done. And 12:30 came and went, and 1 o'clock, and 1:30, and there was no news that had come out of it. And I kept getting more and more responses as the day went on from, I would imagine, nervous Bison fans. My first response I got yesterday was, what time to come through? At 12:30. Nothing yet? Got a couple then. I was in town for dinner, came back to expect good news. Now they're dragging it out like the Paris peace talks. Let's see. Would you say no news is good news? Is it 10:30 p.m. Pacific time by chance? It just kept going on. I left the station yesterday at about 4:40 and hadn't heard anything. I got another one. I remember as a kid mailing in my coupons or money for something that was promised to come in 2 to 6 weeks. So every day I would go to the mailbox hoping. It usually came 7 weeks later. This is like California voting results. It just was taking forever. So I reached out to a couple of sources. Like, hey, did this happen? Because my thought was, as it got later in the afternoon, that the NCAA basketball tournament news maybe swallowed everything up. They didn't want to announce anything, knowing full well that this got pushed to the side. Well, that in fact was not the case. They did vote, and what the oversight committee decided was, yep, we like it, and we're sending the proposal on. The said proposal is to eliminate the 2-year postseason transition ban for teams moving from FCS to FBS, and to allow schools like North Dakota State and Sacramento State to be immediately bowl and playoff eligible if they reach the appropriate amount of wins to get to that level. That now means that this legislation proposal, whatever term you want to guard it under, now goes to the Division I cabinet, and they will meet on June 23rd and 24th to approve it. I had 2 separate sources tell me that once the cabinet gets it, they usually approve it. If it's been signed off by the oversight committee, then normally they will approve it. Why it didn't get officially rubber stamped yesterday, that the oversight committee, quote, doesn't have voting authority on the proposal. It's a membership bylaw, and the cabinet must vote on it. So that's, if you want to score this in terms of wins and losses, this is a win for NDSU and for Sacramento State, that it made it to the next step. Now, it's been a while since I've taken any government classes. I did enjoy it in school in 7th and 8th grade, learning how a bill becomes a law and all that, even though these days you'd be hard-pressed to figure that out because our current politicians have no idea what they're doing. But this is where we're at. Like the bill was drafted by a group of people, right? It was then presented to the oversight committee, and it was approved by them. Now it goes to the cabinet. So if you were equated to a bill, if I have this correct, right? If it gets drafted in the House of Representatives, gets signed off there, then it goes to the Senate. Senate would maybe tweak it, sign off there, and then goes to the president's desk to get signed off. That's where we're at here. We're at the last step now to be signed off. The Division I cabinet is, and I know this is the minutia of NCAA sports, and I know some of you are just saying, I just want to see the games, and I get it, but this affects the games. Frankly, if NDSU and Sacramento State are going to be eligible to participate in the postseason this upcoming fall. The cabinet is made up of 20 members. Here's a couple of people that you may know. That includes NDSU Athletic Director Matt Larson is one of them. Now, Matt is on there representing the Summit League. He does not have a vote on this particular instance because it involves football, and obviously the Summit League doesn't sponsor football. What I have not been able to ascertain yet is can he be in the room? Like you remember in the FCS playoff committee, which he was a part of and was the chair last year, he had to leave when North Dakota State was discussed. I don't know if he is allowed to be in the room on this. Rick George is there. That's a friend of North Dakota State. He's the athletic director at Colorado. John Steinbrecher is there. He's the MAC commissioner. Now, this would directly, I would think, benefit him because his league would have an opportunity to get another bowl team there. I would think. I've been told, though, Steinbrecher has traditionally voted against when these petitions have come up, like when James Madison and Jacksonville State petitioned to be immediately eligible, Steinbrecher has voted against. Now, here's a couple other minutia things on this. The power conferences have weighted votes. So the Big Ten, the SEC, the Big 12, ACC, their representatives, their votes count more than the group of six. And from what I'm told, NDSU has that support from their constituents that are represented on this. It's more political, folks, than I thought. So if you're waking up this morning and wondering, okay, what in the world happened? I tell you, yesterday was a positive, but there is still another vote to come. Now, again, it is very rare that the cabinet wouldn't sign off on something that the oversight said we want to happen. They traditionally have not done that. So I would say things are still looking good, but there's still one last hurdle to cross here, and that comes at the end of June. And I'm looking at the variety of representatives here. You've got the AD from Wake Forest is there. Stony Brook's AD is there, which is funny because the former Stony Brook AD is also part of it. Commissioner of the Big West. They don't sponsor football. I mentioned the commissioner of the MAC is there. The AD in Illinois is there. He has a vote. Clearly representing the Big Ten. Assistant commissioner of the SEC is there. Washington State's deputy AD is part of this. Has a vote. Michigan State's deputy AD is part of it. South Carolina's AD is there. Arizona's AD is part of it. We mentioned Colorado as part of this. And then they have a couple of student-athlete reps, which I don't believe they would have any voting power in this. So, again, I know for a lot of you, your eyes are maybe rolling to the back of your heads and wondering, okay, just, Dom, give it to me straight. Here's what I'll tell you. Bare bones. It was a good day yesterday if you're a Bison football fan because it made it out of one committee now to the last step. And now it's one last hurdle to see if they can get this. And I'll tell you, folks, the financial part of this, we went through it yesterday, is quite substantial here. If the Bison are able to be eligible for postseason play, they're automatically into a pool of money there that the Mountain West would be able to provide them that would not be there until 2028. And even if this goes the opposite way, I still think then the appeal will be launched by NDSU that they originally thought they were going to do way back in February. So, long story longer, it ended up being a longer day than I thought because I got finally this story about 6:30, and I think Ross Dellinger from Yahoo had it almost simultaneously when I put something out as well. And I'm not bragging here or whatever. Ross has his sources, and they are fantastic. He's the one who broke the story on NDSU going to the Mountain West. And I'm trying to see when it was about 6:53 last night. Then Dellinger tweeted that the Oversight Committee today moved forward legislation to eliminate the 2-year postseason probationary period for transitioning FCS teams. The D1 cabinet must now adopt the change. If adopted, Sac State and North Dakota State would be bowl eligible in 2026. And again, that's their bare bones of it. NDSU would be also eligible for the Mountain West Championship game and potentially the college football playoff if they get this vote. So that's the long story of it. It was an interest. Again, this is more than I've ever, you get into it, you want to cover the games, cover the people part of it. This is like the behind the scenes, which is, frankly, as I was finding out more as the day went on yesterday, I'm like, boy, this is a heck of a lot more political than I thought. And there is some interest level in that. I'm sure, though, for the average fan out there, just tell me if they're in. And I'm telling you, you're 95% of the way there. It's not done yet, but it looks good this morning. So if you have more emails, questions on that, let them rip. I'll try and answer as best we can over the last hour and 40 minutes of our show this morning. Also, yesterday, we had an off day for the Wolves, off day for the Wild. Twins were playing. And we'll have more with Cory Provus later on in our show this morning. This is a group that has not won a series now in a month. They are heading to Cleveland, losers of 15 of the last 20 games. Yesterday, it was the Washington Nationals who took a series from Minnesota, and Simeon Woods-Richardson still can't get through the sixth inning. Tristan Gray came through here in the fifth with a sharp hit up the middle. That would give Minnesota a 3-2 lead in the fifth inning. It went away from there. Keibert Ruiz had like the game of his life yesterday. This is blasted to the gap in right center. That would score 2 runs, puts the Nationals back in front at 4-3. They'd add to it here with, again, somebody catch the ball. Between Luke Keyshaw and Matt Wallner, they go to the Damiso School of Outfielding. Hello, make a play. Run comes in, it's 5-3. Ryan Jeffers, I show this only because this might be the furthest hit ball of the year. 432 feet. If you hit it to left field at that ballpark, that's a tank. Former Nationals great Josh Bell hits a rope here to left in the top of the 7th. Jeffers comes in. The Twins put a rally together and tie the game at 5. Ruiz already had 3 runs driven into the day. Make it 4. That ball is hammered off of new Twins reliever John Klein, pride of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Nationals go on and win the series 7-5. The final yesterday to put Minnesota now at a season worst 6 games under 500. And yet, they're just 3.5 games out of first. Such is life in the AL Central. We'll dive into that with Cory later on in our show. Nationals got healthy. They got healthy against the Mets and the Twins this year, did Washington. Twins are heading to Cleveland. Note about tonight's game, everybody, and Cory will tell us this. It's on Apple TV tonight, so it's streaming only if you're looking for it. Connor Prelip will start for Minnesota. Parker Messick will go for the Guardians, who's off to a really good start. 3-1 with an ERA just under 2.5. First pitch at 6:15 tonight, again on Apple TV for that game in Cleveland. We got a lot to get to here today on a busy Friday show. Our guest lineup is brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. As I mentioned, Cory Provus will join us at 9:35, give us everything Twins related that's going on. The team was dressed in Wild jerseys for their flight to Washington. They had the Wolves jerseys on in their flight yesterday to Cleveland. So Cory will give us the lowdown on what he does tonight. Is he go to the game? Has he got his feet up? We'll talk to him about that coming up at 9:35. I mentioned my conversation with David Richman at 10 o'clock on the Now We Know It. The NCAA basketball tournament is set to expand to 76. Does this in any way help the Summit League? Dave will tell us that at 10. And at 10:35, excited to welcome on David Youngs to the show, former outstanding tennis player at Fargo South, state champion at South, coached at Concordia, was the MIAC Conference Coach of the Year last year. If you've seen the headlines, and obviously last week UND announced the elimination of its tennis program, that is now 6 Division I tennis teams that have been eliminated since the start of the year. In fact, 4 in the last week and a half. David's going to give us his thoughts on that. He's inside the game. He knows the game. Why this is happening. Why are colleges rampantly cutting tennis out of the loop? That'll be a good conversation to wrap up the week at 10:35. That and a heck of a lot more here over the next hour and 40 minutes or so. We come back, says it perfectly, the bracket gets bigger. How the NCAA tournament is going to look coming in 2027. That's coming up. We come back on Hot Mic on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com after this. Welcome back, everybody. We're off and rolling here on a Friday morning spectacular. Cory Provus will join us in about 10 minutes' time from Cleveland. All right. The unthinkable happened yesterday that the NCAA basketball tournament officially on the men's and women's sides have both been expanded to 76 teams, a topic that we have chatted about quite a bit since it first got floated about 3 to 4 years ago. Finally got over the hump yesterday. And with basically, I would say, the arm twisting of NCAA President Charlie Baker to make this happen. And how this will look, there'll be 32 automatic bids because the Pac-12 is getting its bid back with the reformation of that league, with Boise and San Diego State and Gonzaga coming in to the Pac-12 for this upcoming year, 26-27. And now 44 at-large bids. Scheduling-wise, how this is going to work. You've been used to the first four. Since 2011, we've had the first four, which meant we had 2 games played on Tuesday night and 2 games played on Wednesday night on the men's side. The women, it's gone 2 games on Wednesday, 2 games on Thursday, and then we start the tournament after that. Well, this is going to be starkly different. Now you're going to have 6 games on Tuesday and 6 games on Wednesday. Now, Dayton is going to keep us a site. Dayton will still have games with 3 games going to be played on a Tuesday, and then another site that will host the other games. What is being reported, CBS Sports is saying that they want to have it west of Dayton to help out with logistics. So either in the Central Time Zone or the Western Time Zone. There are some cities out there that have been bandied about. We'll get to in a second here. Now, if you're wondering how the bracket will look, this is the best way to see it for those that are watching on television today. And it's kind of hard to read, so I'll try and read this off the best I can of how the matchups are going to look. So what you're going to have is all the 16 seeds are going to play in these games no matter what, which I already have my thoughts on that because in the past, in the first 4, you've had 4 of the 16 seeds go to Dayton. Now all of them are. So if the Summit League isn't very good this upcoming year, and whoever wins the Summit or the Big Sky is automatically going to go here. So you're not even actually in the tournament. You still have to win a game to get into the field of 64. Again, I'll save my thoughts on that for a minute. Half of the 15 seeds are going to be here. So automatically what the tournament chair is saying is that Cinderella or anything like that, you got to win at least a game before you get a chance to play in the real tournament. All of the 12 seeds are going to be placed here. So everybody likes that 5-12 matchup, like we like to pick the upset. You don't even know who the 12 seeds are going to be until Thursday. And then half of the 11 seeds will be playing in here as well. So that's how it will look schematically. On a bracket, it's just going to look frankly, I don't even know if you fill one out. I don't know how you do it till Friday or Thursday morning at 10 o'clock, right? When the tournament actually starts at 11, the field isn't even going to be done till Wednesday night after 11 o'clock Central Time, I'd imagine, on that. Now, according to Matt Norlander from CBS Sports, who does a great job covering college basketball, he's picked 10 cities that could potentially host the other opening round site. He lists Albuquerque, Dallas, Des Moines, Denver, Kansas City, Vegas, because Vegas wants in on everything, Omaha, Phoenix, Salt Lake City, and Wichita. May I be so bold to suggest another site to appeal to our viewing and listening audience? Sioux Falls should be on there. Absolutely. At the Premier Center, Sioux Falls has already proven they can do it. It would be, you could get 9,000 to 10,000 people there, and they love basketball as much as they do, that sign up Sioux Falls right now. I know these other cities are great. I mean, but if Wichita is on there, if Des Moines is on there, if Omaha is on there, put Sioux Falls on there too then as a potential host. That would be pretty. They would love it. They love their hoops down there. It would be well attended, I can tell you that. Now, you can bemoan this happening all you want. It's a done deal. Here's what I'll say for viewers in our area that love college basketball, love mid-major basketball. This is just another shot. It's just another one to the head. The portal has given mid-majors just a complete body blow because you can't keep your best players every year. Now, hey, you still have a chance to get in, but if you make it, you better be a 14 seed because if not, you're going right in here. The Bison is a great example of this. NDSU's great team of 2014. They were a 12 seed that year that got to play Oklahoma out in Spokane. Under this format now, you're not even in the main tournament. You still got to win a game to get a chance to play Oklahoma. That's a tough deal. On the women's side of this, I would tell you NDSU would have been in the field this year had this happened. The Bison women would have made it under this format. But as Jory Collins told us last week when I asked him about this, he doesn't see this happening, that more mid-majors are going to come in. If you saw all the teams and we kept track of this, right? All season long of the first 4 out. How many mid-majors were there? 1. It wasn't this huge conglomeration of mid-majors that were getting just on the outside. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to have, hey, the 10th place team of the SEC, come on down, and you're going to play the 9th place team out of the ACC. That's what these games are going to be. Will people watch? Maybe. But if you're hoping for another Fairleigh Dickinson, if you're hoping for another St. Peter's miracle run, those are donezo. If you haven't seen the empirical evidence over the last 2 years where we haven't seen a seed lower than 12 make it, High Point was the one this year, and High Point's not a mid-major. High Point has a $3 million NIL fund. They would tell you that they're spending more than a lot of other of these so-called mid-majors because they don't have football either. That's their thing. I'll save more of this for after our conversation with Dave, but it's here, and it's coming. And if you best win some games, I don't know how you do that either way, by the way, because you can't schedule anybody in mid-major basketball. Like NDSU got to 27 wins, and we thought they should have been a 13 seed. They got put to the 14 line, which they were in the tournament. But if let's just say the Summit League champion next year is 19-16, you're going to Dayton or wherever other site. There's no doubt in my mind about that. More on the expansion coming up later on in the show. We'll break. We come back. We'll talk some baseball. Our guy Cory Provus on the other side of the break from Cleveland. Give us an update on Joe Ryan. What's ahead for this team right now as they just are scuffling? That's coming up. We come back.
Goes and gone. The 0-2 pitch. Hey, struck him out swinging at 101. The swing and a drive, left field and deep. Back it goes and gone. And the Twins walk it off again.
All right, it's Friday at 9:35. Our guy Cory Provus joins us from lovely Cleveland, Ohio, as the Twins are set to open up a weekend set with the division rival Guardians. I got to see you guys were dressed to the nines. You had the Wild jerseys on for the trip to Washington, D.C., and you had the Wolves jerseys on for the flight yesterday.
And we might add the Frost here pretty soon. Seriously,
nice.
we might to the Frost, and they're dominant so far in the professional women's hockey league. So I hope we add them as well. But it's been fun, and the Wild. I haven't put a hockey sweater on. I have a Duncan Keith Blackhawks jersey.
Nice. Wow.
I think I wore that to a Wild game. I went with my wife. This is a great story. I went with my wife first or second year we moved to Minnesota. Went to a Wild Blackhawks game, and nobody knew who I was, so I put my Duncan Keith sweater on. But I think this was like the second hockey game she's ever seen. So we had good seats, and there was a little scrum in the corner. And being the teacher that she is, she's like, no. Use your words. Use your words. Don't fight. Don't throw punches. And I'm like, damn it, you're going to get us beat up. Shush. Just keep that. That should be an internal monologue to yourself, or tell me in the car later. It was really sweet. Bless her heart. But I have not put on a sweater in a long time. Really cool though. And we're pulling for the Wild, the Wolves, and that's been fun to do.
So we just showed the highlights a little bit earlier, Cory, of what happened yesterday in Washington. You describe the last 3 days and what went down with the Twins out of that series with the Nationals?
Yeah, I think obviously a good win. The offense was clicking. Everything looked good going back to Tuesday. And then Wednesday, it was just a clunker of the game. And we've seen that script sadly play out where, it gets to the bullpen and it just goes from a close game into a lopsided affair. We've seen that one before. And then I thought yesterday was just an ugly game. And I think Shelty said as much post-game that it was not a pretty day of Twins baseball with the outs made on the bases and then the misplaying right. Even the challenge that didn't go their way, and that was costly because there was a play in the bottom half of that seventh inning where maybe the Twins have a challenge and they could win a call at first base, and who knows, that inning plays out differently. So it just wasn't a pretty day. Sims struggling in every possible way right now. There's really not much you could say more than that. And I thought, Bailey had that was the one time, and he's been amazing where. What does velo give you? It allows you to make some mistakes. And when you don't have 95, 96, you have to be so precise, and he has been. That's why he's been so amazing to watch, because he's been keeping the ball off the barrel. Well, the Nationals made some adjustments, and the contact certainly picked up the second, third time they saw him on Wednesday.
All right, give us what you know on watching Sunday, seeing Joe Ryan leave the game after 9 or 10 pitches. Like, this is not good, but it seems like things may have turned the other way for his availability.
Really a stunning development. I was off on Sunday. The game was on Peacock, and I got a chance to see my son play. He had an early game in Elk River, and we were driving back home, and I'm listening to Chris and Danny, and I hear, 9 pitches in, second batter of the game, that, something's up with Joe, and then training staff comes out, he's leaving the game, and I'm like, oh, man. And then later that day, my son and I, it's a beautiful day, out for a bike ride, and I have the game on, and I could hear the announcement in the press box come through the radio speakers that with right elbow soreness, I'm like, this is a disaster. But then the team left for Washington on Monday, Dom, and I see him on the plane. And to me, that was my first, this is a good sign. Because if it's a bad sign, A, he's not traveling. B, he's going to get multiple opinions. If he's going to see Dr. Meister in Texas or Dr. Elatrosh in California, he's going elsewhere. He's not going to be on that team playing. So I was like, wow. And then we find out Tuesday that he played catch and he feels good. He's going to throw a bullpen Wednesday. And if that goes well, then he's going to start on Saturday. I mean, this is a borderline miracle to go from 2 batters on Sunday, hearing right elbow soreness, that he's going to start on Saturday? I mean, I thought we'd start off your show today with like the Godfather, theme song and the woe is me kind of misery that is baseball right now. But this is incredible. So it's an amazing turnaround and certainly great news.
Well, especially as you're describing it, we're showing that we had the video up and it looked terrible as well. The training staff's out there. He's talking through his glove like this is. We've seen this way too often. Anytime a pitcher does that it normally signals bad news. But you're exactly right. When I saw the report he was on the plane, I'm like, well, he wouldn't travel if he's thinking he's going to pitch again sometime soon.
And I think you have some insight here because Perk is on radio with Chris on this road trip. And Perk had a great chat with Joe. And I'm sure a lot of it will keep to himself. And it was a private conversation. But I also think you're going to hear perspective that nobody else is going to have. So for the listening audience for tomorrow night's game, and I think, Chris and Perk are great, but even more so, tune in, because I think you'll hear some insight that Perk has exclusively to kind of take you through what happened, where Joe is at. And again, some of it he may not reveal, nor should he, but I think you will get probably more access than anybody else has as to what happened with Joe and where he's at kind of with his season.
I got an email to ask Dom. We asked Cory about the trade the Twins made this week, and is this a guy that we're going to see pitch anytime soon? Do you know anything about the guy they got from Tampa?
I just met him.
Okay.
I just met him at a kind of a team breakfast, so that's a timely email. Yohendrys Gomez, he throws mid-90s, and the Twins saw him. He faced the Twins certainly in the Twins-Rays series at Target Field. I was trying to think back if they saw him at all during that series at Tropicana Field, but he did pitch in the WBC. He was on that team, the Venezuelan team. Okay. So I just saw him. So it sounds like John Klein got optioned out. So it seems like Gomez will take his spot. I just think it's another it's a bullpen that needs some velocity. And Gomez has that. I believe is a sinker baller, so ground ball kind of arm. But seeing some velo in that pen is much needed right now, and I think Gomez can provide that.
It's just going to be that, right? Until they find the guys they have back there, it's just going to be a rotating list of arms, I would imagine, right?
I mean, yeah, Shelty was hoping, and I get where he was coming from, that, this first, almost at the 40-game mark now in the season, that the bullpen was going to somewhat sort itself out, that roles were going to be solidified based on performance and based on how guys were doing, much like we saw in the past with a guy like Brock Stewart, who just kind of moved up the food chain, if you will, and was given more leverage and more opportunity. I think Andrew Morris was, and still is, kind of shifting in that direction a little bit more. I think pitch usage with Morris is something that he is still kind of working on, and not all of it is his fault. And yes, the ball is in his hands. Have your conviction, but he's a rookie. He's got 2 veteran catchers behind the plate, right. And LaTroy Hawkins, he had a great point to me when I asked him in New York when Kendry Rojas joined the team. I said, what's your advice when you have to tell that guy to get up and he's going to the game for the first time in his career? He said, he's of the mindset is take a breath, look around, soak it all up. You belong here, but follow your catcher. Follow your catcher. And that's what these young guys are doing. You may not like the pitch selection. It's asking a lot for Andrew Morris or John Klein to shake off, Victor Caratini and Ryan Jeffers right now. It's just not going to happen.
I hate to keep asking injuries, but there's got to get an update here because Sunday the Ryan thing happened, and Walker Jenkins got hurt as well. Mick Abel still isn't throwing, and the guy we talked about last week, Emmanuel Rodriguez, got hurt. Right now, those are all 3 guys that I don't know if they're going to play for the last 2 especially, but right now it's not great for the walking wounded here.
Yeah, it sounds like Emma is going to be back of the 3 sooner. He's on the 7-day in the minor leagues. It's a 7-day IL. And the good news is that because we saw this with Alan Roden last year, even Luke Keyshaw last year, you injured that thumb, and there are all those ligaments in there, and you can tear it, and that's surgery, and that's months. This sounds like it's just a strain that structurally everything is okay, thankfully, in his thumb. So I think he could be back relatively soon. Mick Abel we found out yesterday, had a cortisone shot in his triceps to kind of deal with some inflammation there. He threw 1, if not 2 bullpens, so he's shut down here for a little bit, which is a good sign. But it's not a good sign that he's not throwing right now, but there's some inflammation, and hopefully the cortisone will calm some things down. And then with Jenkins, it's a sprained AC joint. I think they gave it a grade 1, 2 maybe. So he's going to be out. But I was glad to see that it wasn't a subluxation. And I don't know much about surgeries and shoulders, but whenever you hear that subluxation, that often needs surgery, and that's not this. This is a sprained AC joint, so he's going to be out for a few weeks. It was a great catch. I can see, if you see the video of it, he's running full steam into the wall in the right center field in St. Paul. So there's a lot, strong guy, fast guy, a lot of impact. I'm not surprised based on the video that he got hurt, but he's going to be down a bit too.
Corey, I want to go back to one thing before we go to break here. In the game yesterday, and the pop-up between Keyshaw and Wallner, whose ball is that, and just what happened in that play?
I said on the air, and I'll stick by it, that's Matt Wallner's ball.
Yeah.
He's coming in. There's a runner at third base. It's shallow. Matt Wallner's greatest outfield strength is his arm.
His arm, right.
He's got one of the best arms of any outfield arm in baseball. To me, that's a really hard play for Keyshaw. He's backing up, sunglasses on. Wallner's coming in. I mean, Denard Span said as much, more than me. I mean, that's Denard Span, outstanding big league center fielder for a long, long time. That I think Matt would tell you that was his ball. Now, what he heard and what Keyshaw said, I can't tell you that, but watching it, I'm like, that's got to be the right fielder's ball. I haven't seen that happen much with this Twins team this season. We haven't seen that miscommunication. Who's got it? You got it. That was kind of a rare play that we saw maybe for the first time that I can recall all year. But I said it on the air, and Denard backed me up that just looking at it, it seemed like that was Matt Wallner's ball.
All right, let's break. We come back. We'll chat the weekend series. The Twins are in Cleveland to start a 3-game set tonight. Weather pending. Corey will give us an update on that and much more as we wrap up Hour 1. Back with the voice of the Twins right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Twins could use that guy on the mound. There was their Johan Santana bobblehead. I got that at Target Field many, many moons ago. Back with Cory Provus joining us. Off air, he asked me, how about this division? I'll throw it right back at you. How about this? I've said it earlier. The Twins are 3.5 games out of first, and yet they're in last. What's the word to use the AL Central right now?
I think mediocrity is being too kind.
I agree.
To be honest with you, Dom, there's one team over 500, and the Guardians are in first place. But every other team of the AL Central right now is on a losing streak. It's stunning. I don't know what to make of it. I thought the Tigers, entering the year were the favorite, but they are decimated by injury, and the latest being Tarek Skubal. Yeah. I believe that the Tigers and the Astros are tied with the most players on the Major League IL at 14. So there are, including 3 starters, so they are really decimated by injury. And I think if you're the Tigers right now, you're fortunate. You're like, okay, we're 2 games under, we're not playing great, we're missing all these guys, kind of hang around, and we'll see if and when we get some guys back and then, perhaps go on a run. But if you're the Twins right now, how lucky are you that you're 16-22, but only 3.5 games out of first place. Now you've got 3 with Cleveland, starting here tonight, and you've got 3 really good pitchers lined up to go in this series, and you haven't won a season series with the Guardians since 2021.
Man,
yeah, I think this should be an energized team going into this weekend, knowing that, hey, we're not playing great, but the first place team, seeing them on the other side, and a chance to pick up some ground.
Give us the 10,000-foot view. Is this the Guardians that we know and have come to respect over the last few years, what they're doing so far?
I think their pitching is really good. Yeah. Gavin Williams, Parker Messick carried a no-hitter in the 9th inning a couple weeks ago. They'll see Tanner Bybee on Saturday. And Jose Ramirez plays every day and rakes. It's just – and now there's some young guys, too, that we haven't seen before. And Travis Bazzana, former first-round pick, Chase DeLauder, former first-round pick. These are guys the Twins haven't seen in the past that are getting opportunity right now. And DeLauder got off to an amazing start. He made the team out of camp, and he was a home run, extra base hitting machine to start his big league career. There's going to be some new names, some familiar names that we've seen here. But, they've had the Twins number. We know how close these games often are, and the Guardians seem to walk off the Twins multiple times a year. But, a question I'm going to ask Derek Shelton, if not for tomorrow, but for Inside Twins on Sunday, if he, did a deep dive into Cleveland and as to why they've been so good and they've been so good against the Twins in recent years. And I get there's some fluky aspects with baseball, and that's why we love the game. But study your rival. I mean, what are they doing, and how are they building a team, and what is their strength? I mean, what are we missing when we match up against them for 13 times? That outside of a couple of years ago, when it was, I think they played 13, the Twins won 6, so that was close. But there have been some lopsided years here recently where it's been all Guardians in this head-to-head series. So I wonder if he and the staff maybe looked into that a bit more.
I missed this, Cory, back on the Tigers, on the Skubal thing. Is it serious, or is it it's elbow surgery, so it can't be
elbow surgery.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
I mean, John Heyman had a note yesterday from MLB Network that, it was one loose body, so one loose bone chip that was removed from his elbow, and I guess the timetable was 4 to 6 weeks, and maybe Heyman said it'll be earlier than that. He's a free agent.
Yeah,
Scott Boras' client. I don't know how much of this is spin or what. I just know he had elbow surgery, and let's just, it's surgery.
Yep.
So to say, he's going to be back in a month, that would be a miracle if he's back that soon. But it's also risky, man. I mean, you are the number 1 pitcher in the game.
No doubt. Yep.
Why would you rush it? Why would you want to do anything to put yourself in harm's way and impact what could be the biggest contract ever given to a pitcher in free agent history?
Right.
So I can't imagine why they'd want to rush this thing, and namely, I don't think Boras will let him. I mean, because he's going to have a lot of say in this, whether you like it or not. The most powerful agent in the game is going to have a big-time opinion on this and how this plan is going to go moving forward.
Twins play 6 o'clock tonight, 5 o'clock tomorrow, and then 12:30 on Sunday. Tonight's on Apple TV, so you have the night off, correct?
I have the night off. It's supposed to rain here today and tonight, so that might impact the game. But I've never been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I've seen it, and I've told myself off days, what have you, you'll get there eventually, and tonight might be the night, because I know there's Pearl Jam's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so, I'm sure there's a cool Pearl Jam exhibit in there that I would enjoy. So this may be the day when I finally say, you know what, I'm doing it. I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame. It's not that far away from where we stay. We're downtown here, so it might happen tonight.
I've been downtown Cleveland. I also know the Cavs play tomorrow. That's right before the baseball game. That's going to be crazy down there.
That's going to be wild. And they share kind of where the bus pulls in. They go underground this loading dock, and if you will, the bus goes left to the baseball stadium.
Yep.
If you go right, that's underneath the basketball arena. They are right next to each other across this plaza. Yeah. It's going to be wild down here. So the basketball game's at 3. I think the baseball game's at 6. So it's going to be nuts down here, and there's some construction going on down here. So I'm glad it's not that it's an easy walk if you want to do it. And so it's going to be pretty wild down here tomorrow night.
Hey, I want to end with a non-baseball question. I want to tap in your college basketball knowledge that the announcement came yesterday that the tournaments are going to go to 76 teams. So give me your thoughts on that. I can see already. What do you make of it?
I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate it. Part of the fun for me is the bubble and who gets in, who doesn't get in. I think this is going to cater again to the major Power 4, Power 5 programs. And now you can say that this might allow normally, historically, a one-bid league and just that conference tournament champion. This might be okay because normally that's how it works. You have this dominant season, but then you lose in your conference tournament semifinal or championship game, and all the hard work, all the success you had, and then you don't get the reward. Maybe this does open up an extra spot or two, but I still think that's going to reward getting back to mediocrity. I think there's going to be a lot of mediocre Power 4, Power 5 teams that are going to find their way in despite poor records. I didn't even like when they went to 68.
Yeah. I
like 64, those playing games. They don't do much for me. I liked it. Why would they mess with it? It's so good. It's. I think I've told you it's my favorite sporting event every year. I love March Madness, and I just think they're opening things up and getting away from what was truly a perfect event where you had David and Goliath, and every once in a while David got a chance to win.
Yeah. Yep.
And you see that twice, right? 16 beat a 1, or they're 15 beat a 2, and they play 10 times. That's not going to happen too often, but that one time it may, and it might, and I love that. So I wasn't a big fan of that, and I'm sure it's great for the Big Ten, and I work for the Big Ten Network, and it will, I think, reward those other conference teams that are flirting with 500 to find their way into March Madness.
Great stuff as always, bud. Have a great weekend. If you get to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, enjoy it, and we'll talk next week, okay?
Sounds good, Dom. Thanks, buddy.
There he goes. Cory Provus joins us each and every Friday. Twins and the Guardians tonight, just after 6 o'clock. Again, that game is on Apple TV, exclusive there. So if you're looking for the game tonight, you don't have Apple TV, you're listening on the radio. They're back with on Twins TV on Saturday and Sunday with Cory on the call. Is it still Progressive Field? Eric, I don't even know anyway. Is it still Progressive Field? I love that place. I went there when it was still Jacobs Field way back when. That was one of the newer ballparks that opened. After Camden Yards opened, then the Cleveland's new one. It was fabulous. It's a really nice ballpark, and it's been open now for 30-plus years. All right, let's break. We come back. We'll start our second hour. We'll keep on the theme on the NCAA tournament expansion. Bison's basketball coach David Richman joins us to discuss what this means for the Summit League, the NCAAs, and much more on his team that's coming up when we come back.
This is Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
I think just like Dom's outfit, they're not always pretty. Sometimes they're really ugly. But just been all over Amazon and just about every site looking for these mustard pants.
My wife will tell you, she must have burned mine. People actually listen to your show.
They watch.
They watch it.
You. Yeah.
Play defense in that first half like Dom transitions to you after the game. It's way too long, way too lazy, but
you got all these answers. I'm going to bring you over and have you do our non-conference schedule. I'd love to. I'd love to go to Grand Canyon,
I would
man.
love,
hey,
were you
doing that
with?
game.
That's not the thing.
I love when you're on Dom. You're so transparent. And I'm like, so two things are happening. That one, people are watching your show, listening.
Yes.
Right? That caught me a little off guard. I'm just being honest.
Always great when we get the Richman Open here, especially when it's May. But we're going to keep on the theme of our main topic today, which is the NCAA basketball tournament getting expanded to 76. In fact, during the break, I've already seen – you think I'm obsessed with the bracketology stuff. There's 2 separate outlets that have put one out. ESPN has one now, a bracketology of 76. Lenardi doesn't have anything better to do. And he has St. Thomas as the Summit League representative, which I beg to – how? St. Thomas still has, granted, all the Summit League teams have multiple openings on the roster. Andy Katz, respected Andy Katz, put one out. He's got UND as the Summit League rep, as a 16 seed, by the way. St. Thomas as a 14. So going to what we just talked about in the first hour, if that were accurate as a 16, you're going to one of those play-in sites, either Dayton or somewhere else to be determined, and you still got to win a game to get in to the main tournament. That being said, yesterday afternoon I had a chance to visit with the North Dakota State men's basketball head coach. We went on a variety of topics. You're going to hear David talk about what he's done in the portal and the guys that he's officially added. The departure of Josh Jones, his assistant coach, as obviously they have to make a hire there. And we started our conversation with, I asked him, the expanding of the basketball tournament to 76 teams.
I don't know. When you reached out and you hit me up about it, man, it caught me off guard. I don't know if I have any initial thoughts, Dom. If you're pushing me back into the corner, I don't know if I love it. I really don't. I think sometimes you lose. Sometimes you're not good enough, and there should be consequences for those things. And yeah, I just feel a little bit like, man, I'm going to sound old here, but there's a participation trophy for everything, right? And I don't like that. You earn your way in, and we've made it bigger. And now I know why they're doing it, right? Somebody's telling them there's more TV revenue, and those things. And I think it'll benefit everything, the big boys, the high majors. Let's be just real with us. And I'm okay with that. Like somebody told me, if I don't like those things, then do something different about it. Go get a high major job or whatever. And maybe I will someday. That'd be great. And maybe I'm the I'm the head coach of the 74th or 75th team, and I love this thing. But I don't see this changing much to the mid-majors. I don't. But it is what it is. And I've said, you and I think what I struggle with the NCAA right now is we don't have guidelines. We don't have parameters. I don't know the rules. Well, here are the rules. 76 teams. We know those rules. Let's follow.
The counterpoint that would say, Dave, is your experience at Dayton a few years back, that you got a tournament win out of that. There's now more opportunities for the 16 seeds, the mid-majors to play, but you're not necessarily in that field like you were this year, like you were playing Thursday afternoon against Michigan State. How would you, because you did the Dayton thing, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah,
and the Dayton, there's a reason it's in Dayton, right? It's an incredible experience. It's an unbelievable basketball town, Dom. You were there and you felt it. And it was great. We were in the NCAA tournament, but I will tell you this year felt different. It felt more real, where you just go there and, man, when we went to Dayton in 19, and then all of a sudden you're in Columbia, South Carolina, and then you turn around and then you're sitting on your sofa, right? It just happened so fast. It was a blur. Again, so excited that we had, and we're in the NCAA tournament. There's banners hanging, there's rings, there's all those things. This year, being one of those true 14 seeds, what were we? Felt a little bit more real.
Have this been anything your colleagues have talked about, or just it's going to happen? It's just a matter of time. No.
Yeah, it's funny. It really hasn't. I've seen some of the buzz from Goodman. And all those, and I, if I'm being completely transparent, I'm in the portal right now, and that is the whole focus. And then we have an open assistant spot. So, I was the idiot that, I'm all right, I better contribute something as the staff's in the portal. Now I'm doing scheduling. And then all of a sudden it came out. And it is what it is. Like I said, am I excited? Am I disappointed? Probably neither. It just, I don't see it having a whole bunch of effect on the mid-majors. The higher ups are saying this is good for something. Well, then I'm going to believe in those things. But I think at the end of the day, for the Bison, for North Dakota State, we're going to continue to control what we can control. And, that's winning the next game. That's roster construction right now. That's, you always wanted this scheduling thing. Like, you can have every bit of it. Now, this has been, I called Josh Jones the other day and said, you should ask for a raise 10 times over.
Off of that, do you think, I think I know the answer, but now that they're expanding to 76, does that mean scheduling even harder than I imagine?
The only thing there's a tidbit about it. I got a letter from the NABC, the National Association of Basketball Coaches, and they did say in there something about now some conversations about scheduling, and how we get to the net and some of those things. And I don't know what that means yet. It's not a skimmed bullet point, so I get distracted. But here's what I would tell you, like the biggest thing that we're struggling with right now in scheduling, Dom, is we're not a quad 1, we're not a quad 4. And so quad 1s are playing each other, and then they're playing quad 4s. We have run into a little bit where, and I need to do more homework, like the Valley. They have rules where they need to find 4 games like us. We're in, based on when I say us, like our net. And so there's some of those windows. But man, like my bosses Todd Phelps is going to be banging on my door and asking how we're going to generate some money from guarantee games, or you're going to be asking me, why don't we play any, high major opponents, which I respect both of those things. But I think at the end of the day, I might think, I thought my wife was real pretty, but if she didn't like me and I wasn't wanted on the other end, like this was not going to happen. It's a two-way street.
The argument on the expansion, like if you're able to get an NCAA tournament win, like in your profession, that means you get a contract extension. You got an NCAA tournament win. How is there much motivation on that to do that, in your opinion?
I think the real motivation for us, and I go back and I got asked, a lot about, we win 27 games, we go to the NCAA tournament, and it's been a couple of years since we've been in the game, this, that, like it's just validation, to what we've been doing, and those things. And I think for a mid-major, that big thing is, okay, here I go, which you love, me being rant. The path to the NCAA tournament is still very much the same. The path is still very much the same. Does this open up a path for another mid-major or two? If it does, awesome, great. What we found out and what you see this year is that path to win a game in the NCAA tournament, Dom, there is just a huge gap right now. Huge. Yep. What did Goodman tweet out? There was only one true upset, and that was High Point over Wisconsin. And then you do your digging, and High Point had a $3.5 million NIL budget minimum. So, those are the things. And so for us, getting to the NCAA tournament is huge. I can guarantee you this and promise you this, and I couldn't be more excited about how roster construction is going for us. It's a slow process, but it's going extremely well. We're going to try to get back to the NCAA tournament. And when we get there, we're going to try to win games. I just know that the deck, as we're being real with each other, is really stacked against each other right now. Like and I shouldn't, because I don't know all the specifics, but you're seeing athletic programs struggle financially, but yet their men's basketball team and their football teams the football team has a $40 million roster and their men's basketball has a $25 million. How does that work? I don't know. But I do know, money doesn't buy happiness, but it can buy some really good players, and really good players can make you a really good coach.
Make you happy too, right?
Yeah.
Last thing, how smarter are you now in the portal as opposed to 2 years ago? What I mean by that is what I'm looking for a player, how he can fit into the team. I guess, how more efficient are you now when you're looking and building your roster right now?
Yeah, it's a terrific question, Dom. And we have what we feel is a very good system where I don't like it to be Luke Strage's guy or Spencer Wilker's guy or Cameron Greer's guy or Dave Richman guy. These are Bison guys. So we, quote unquote, drop it all into a funnel. Spence brings a guy, hey, I like this guy. and we do some analytical, some Moneyball stuff. We see kind of, we're talking to agents, what's the value, and then it all trickles into kind of Coach Strage. And, he kind of is our GM, so to speak. He keeps some of that away from me and the kid, because we're not to that position, a little bit. And then when we're close, then I come in and number one, I'm going to go and attack the character. Like, who are you? What are you about? I want to know those things. I explain then who we are, and then kind of finish the deal, if we're ready. And so I feel like from that standpoint, we've got a good rhythm to that. But it's the question, the time in your question, it's slow. It's a real grind right now. But, patience gains all things is what my faith tells me. But I sat with Spencer just this week, early in the week, and I said, because we are in a little bit, we're in a better situation financially than we were last year. Okay. But we're still in this process, and it's May 7th, and we're not complete. And I just said, Spence, listen, I'm just asking. Right? But it's my job as a leader to ask tough questions. Are we attacking this portal process a little different based on us having just a little bit more money? And really quick, he gave me the exact response that I wanted. He's like, no, the values in the portal have just gone up too. So it's all relative.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yep. So like even players like a Tay Smith or Markai Strickland were impact guys for us. When we were able to get them last year, their value would be exponential, just because somebody even told me, again, I don't want to be quoted, but it's like 65% difference. And that's the scary part. That's where is it sustainable? How are these people getting these numbers when there's rev share of 20.5 million, and then anything third party is NIL go? Like, how does that all work? I'm not the brightest cat in the world.
Off of that, how much does a guy like Andy Stefanowicz vouch for Jack Robinson to say, I know this guy, I know you know him, know Lakeville North's coach really well, to say this is a additive piece to our roster?
Well, look at how it went in the spring, right? Like we went bang, bang, bang. So Jack Robinson, Caden Tate, and Josiah Harper. Well, Jack and Josiah were relationships. So I know John Oxton. I know the Wisconsin staff. Andy played with Jack. Yeah. We had recruited Josiah for multiple years in the past. And then Caden Junior College, that kind of like you can recruit that all year legally. Did you see that? Legally.
I did.
Not like some people recruited my players all year. Anyways, different topic. But you can see like we went, right? And 3 guys. And then there's this pause. And now it becomes what I call a true portal, where the old Spaceballs movie, we're combing the desert. Like we're going through and, all right, we need that. Okay, you got that. And then you put this together and then it gets down. And now, ultimately still it's there's still relationships for us because it's fit. Melvin Bell Jr. could not be more excited about, I can call Tim Miles, right? There's those things happening too. And so, but yeah, we're getting there. I would say some of it, and I'll say this out loud. I don't love the lack of guardrails to the money and those things. Some of the portal stuff has been intriguing. Dare I say fun. Because you can put it together. I think it gives everybody a little bit of like a new, like our league, yeah. and all of a sudden, everybody. I think Luke did the math. There's like 2.5 scholarship players back per team.
Right.
So some of those teams that didn't have a great year, all of a sudden they're looking at it as they can flip their roster and everybody else's rosters flip too. Oh, it might be a little, but. The biggest struggle that I have right now is I don't feel bad for many people. And at the end of the day, they wouldn't. But like Luke Strage and Spencer Wilker, those guys in particular, they went from Thursday in the NCAA tournament to Monday, me having all the interviews and then me saying, go.
Yeah.
And there's been no breath.
Yeah.
There has been no able to celebrate an historic year. And then, like you said, when you hit the true portal, there was a couple Fridays ago, I had to go around the office and like just give hugs. It was like the morale, because It's like my high school dating. There was a lot of no's back in there, and so you're shifting through the no's for those one. And I think the other analogy I can use is it's like an amusement park, Dom. Okay, it is slow, it grinds, and you're waiting in line. Well, then you get on the ride, and it's euphoric.
Yeah.
Like you're on the phone, you can feel it. You're close. You get the commitment. You're celebrating as a staff. It comes out. There's a couple social media things. You get off that ride and you're still talking about it, right? Man, that was a blast. Did you feel that corner? And then all of a sudden, slow. And we walk to the next ride and we wait in line and it's hot outside at Disney. And I didn't want that $22 hot dog. It didn't taste. And then all of a sudden, boom, you get on the ride again. And so it's a lot of that. It's a lot of hurry up and wait. I do. Like Dusty May, he said it different, right? They can do theirs like that, right? And some of these guys, which I respect. Hey, he's in the NCAA, he's in the national championship wins. The next day he's doing, but now they have some time, on the back end. But as much as this is a grind and it's literally it's the most important part of our year right now because it's our roster construction. And you can argue that winning games, well, we're not going to win games. We're not going to win the right games if we don't have the right people. And so right now we're vetting and building a roster to find the right people. I'm really excited for Josh Jones. 5 years here, did an incredible job, for us and a great opportunity for him at Akron. I think it gets him close to home. And even if Josh is listening to this, he would understand, I'm excited for us too. I don't mind some change every so often. Now, we don't need change every year, but some fresh, new ideas, just some new blood, some new energy. Some of those things is going to be great for us. We're really close. We're, government institution, university. You got to jump through a lot of processes to make sure that you don't leave anybody out and you get the right person, and those things. So there'll be some news, hopefully. Poor Josh Hemingway, I'm banging on his office every day to see where we're at in that process too. And I've gotten a couple other questions. Certainly our success doesn't happen without, administration and their support. And, we've had some very fun, productive, healthy conversations, myself, Todd Phelps, Matt Larson, about the direction that, they want to continue to go with our staff and me being the head coach. So very encouraged about those things too. As far as anything official with, the assistant or, contract or assistant stuff, and or this last, because we did just get a commitment, I'm just going to hold off until all those, there's some dried ink on some paper.
He was on fire yesterday. I wanted to talk about the tournament. He gave me everything, including sounds like a contract status update. He's going into the final year of his deal this upcoming year, so it certainly sounds like there is something in the works for the men's basketball head coach at North Dakota State. So we appreciate his time and gave some really good stuff, as always, on the status of his team and, frankly, the status of college basketball right now. All right, let's break. We get caught up here. We got a couple emails to get to. David Young's coming up at 10:35 on so many tennis teams getting eliminated around the country, including up in Grand Forks. Back on Hot Mic after this. That's another Star Wars photo. I appreciate that after what happened earlier this week. I didn't get a chance to get this in earlier in the show. The Vikings made a move. We thought, would they draft a third wide receiver? They decided not to do that, but they have signed one. Jawan Jennings became official late yesterday afternoon that he is part for the Vikings wide receiver corps for 2026. Comes in after he was a 7th-round guy. You talk about the draft and finding hidden gems. That's exactly what Jennings was with the 49ers, and now becomes basically he's number 3 behind Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. 1-year deal worth $8 million, could be up to $13 million with incentives. Caught 55 passes for a career-high 9 touchdowns with the 49ers in 2025. I mean, if you got him on your fantasy team, he was a steal for you. He was a really good player. He was with the Vikes. He visited last week and then left. And you're thinking, well, okay, if he left, then they didn't able to come to an agreement. But here you are a week later, and it's a done deal. 20-year-old Jennings, according to the Star Tribune, get another chance at free agency next year when the Vikings are also faced with a decision on Jordan Addison's future as the 2023 first-round pick will enter a contract year. For 2026, though, they'll have 3 experienced receivers to go with tight end T.J. Hawkinson, and they hope that Ty Felton will develop a receiver. Remember, they spent a third-rounder on him out of Maryland last year. So that's a guy for Kyler Murray. I'm assuming it's Kyler Murray for him to work with. 75 NFL games for Jennings, all with the Niners, 210 career receptions, 2,581 yards, and 22 career touchdowns, and becomes another part of that offense that Kevin O'Connell will want to tool with and work with for this upcoming year. With Vikings minicamp, scarily I say that, a month away from Egan, and then training camp, we are not that far away from. But the Vikings not done tinkering with the roster, adding Jawan Jennings yesterday. All right, we'll break. We come back. A story that we've been following for the last little bit. Of course, last week UND announced the elimination of its tennis program. Why are so many being dropped? Former South State champion David Youngs will join us to discuss that when Hot Mike returns after this. Welcome back, everybody. Final segment of the week here as we come down the home stretch with a topic I wanted to hit on. We talked about it last week. We saw we were actually on the air. I think we got the email from the University of North Dakota when they announced the elimination of their men's and women's tennis programs a week after each of them played in the Summit League Championship down in Tulsa. And they drawing unfortunately, a growing list of programs, Division I schools that are eliminating tennis programs. I thought a guy would be able to talk about this, who've played the sport, coached it both in college as well, just won the MIAC Coach of the Year over at Concordia. Former South standout David Youngs joins us this morning to try and explain what's going on. First, how you doing, bud? It's good to see you.
I'm doing well. I'm doing better now that I'm chatting with you, Dom.
I appreciate that.
It's great to be here and talk about something that like we talked about off air, unfortunately probably won't be going away anytime soon.
So give me your perspective on this. You were in the game, you coached the game. Why has this rash happened over, it seems like, the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's been a fire sale in a sense. And unfortunately, the reality is when NIL came to fruition in college athletics and just this push for more of a free market, for paying athletes their worth, and rightfully so, student athletes, we're now seeing some of the negative effects, especially when it comes to smaller, non-revenue generating sports like tennis. To put it simply, I was chatting when the news came out about the University of North Dakota last week. First person that I was talking with was Brad Schlossman, up in Grand Forks, and we were talking about essentially. It's pretty simple. Would you rather, have $500K to fund a tennis program, or would you rather give $100K to 5 different football, basketball, hockey student athletes that could go on and play in the NHL, the NBA, the NFL, whatever it may be? And that's not to say that myself or a lot of tennis people are anti-large sports. I'm about as big of a college football fan, college hockey fan as it gets out there. But the reality is you got to look at where institutions and leadership are placing their priorities. And so it's something that, while it is really, really unfortunate, I'm a firm believer that college athletics is rooted in the student athlete experience, creating great athletes, but more importantly, great husbands, wives, business leaders, community leaders, etc. That's all really important. And institutions need to make money and want to make as much money as they can. And unfortunately, tennis doesn't make it.
You're in the sport. So even you see this coming down the pike? Because we've talked about the Olympic sports and certainly the non-revenue generators like tennis, like cross country, golf, swimming, volleyball. They seem like they're in the crosshairs, and now it seems like tennis is the first to get it.
Yeah, we are seeing that. And this time around, University of North Dakota kind of came as a shocker to me. There were a couple of years back when I was still playing at Concordia, had some buddies up on the team at UND. And it was when they unfortunately dropped women's hockey. And there was a lot of talk there in the tennis circles of, oh boy, are we going to drop tennis again? Are we going to drop tennis again? It wasn't, but this time it was. I think it comes down to the fact, this fire sale started with the University of Arkansas. And the numbers are there where the reality is, like you mentioned, we're not bringing in revenue. It costs a lot of money to fund a program, not nearly as much as a major sport or even a lot of the other what you could consider smaller sports. But the reality is those flights out west don't get any cheaper, especially with the major airline closing now. Hotels don't get any cheaper. Food doesn't get any cheaper. So that number is only going to go up. And so after University of Arkansas cut their program, then we saw Illinois State, we saw St. Louis, UND, Gardner-Webb announced that it's going to be their last full year of tennis this upcoming season. And two of those schools that I just mentioned were in the NCAA tournament the previous year. And UND, like you mentioned, both the men's and women's programs won the summit this season, which I think that made it the biggest shocker for me was in the world of sports, it's often assumed that success equals stability. Clearly that is not always the case.
For you, when you were coaching as well, just how hard was it to find players? Even was this specter out there saying, well, I don't know if I want to keep doing it, knowing it might go away sometime soon?
It's a great question. And the reality is that Division I and Division III have always been different. You could argue that they're more different than they've ever been before, but still, it does not go unnoticed. Tennis is a unique sport because you look at the top 100 recruits in a sport like football, they're all going to schools like, Alabama, Wisconsin. Tennis, you can see Division III schools on that list like University of Chicago, Gustavus Adolphus. And so it's a beautiful thing, but because of that, it's a tight-knit community. And, thankfully at Concordia, when I was at the helm there for our men's tennis program, outstanding leadership in Rachel Bergeson when it came to the athletic department. And we were given the resources that we needed. And I think one thing, too, that the MIAC, the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, just does really well is emphasizing that student-athlete experience. We want to win on the field, on the court, but we want you to be involved in other things. When I look at the team that I coached at Concordia, we had some great tennis players, but we had guys that were doing internships, involved in music, in all sorts of clubs, organizations, activities. So that holistic learning approach was emphasized. And so because of that, I'm a little less worried about the Division III level, but if you actually talk about the money component of it, it's no secret that funding a full athletic department, I don't care what division it is really expensive.
Well, I look at it as well, David, for the Olympic sports, which is tennis is one of them. If you're not having these programs and you want to continue to generate Olympic caliber players, and I know the pros play in the Olympics, but you'll forgive me on this, like the pipeline is there. And if there's no pipeline to get to there, then what are we doing if it's just going to be football and basketball and then everything else can go to hell in a handbasket?
That's a great point, Dom. I look at it this way. University of North Dakota, when they reamped their tennis program, started it up again, I was a high school student athlete. Immediately it was like, how cool would it be to go and play for my home state institution? For kids in the state of Minnesota, there was nothing cooler than going to Baseline Tennis Center at the University of Minnesota, which, by the way, has won National Facility of the Year multiple times, and watch the Gopher men's program and women's program play and say, I want to be like that someday. And even when UND started their program up again, being non-scholarship at the time, you had a lot of local talents on the team, state of Minnesota across the river, state of North Dakota across the river in Minnesota as well. And so that does matter in my opinion, because look at UND hockey. Look at the reason that Grand Forks Central, Grand Forks Red River have traditionally outstanding programs. There's a prize to keep your eye on there.
You worried about the future of this, that there's more coming, that maybe even 10 years, do we even have NCAA, sponsored tennis?
To be frank, yes, I am. If that being said, that's the case if the priority continues to be on revenue, which doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon. And I can understand why. Again, it does on paper make sense. The sad thing is tennis is never going to make money. I'll tell you what tennis does do. Collegiate tennis, just like tennis at any level, you learn outstanding critical thinking skills. We see a lot of tennis players go on to become wonderful business leaders, educators, invested members in their community. Yet at the end of the day, you can't guarantee that a team of 8 college tennis players 10 years after their graduation are each going to give 50 to 100K back to the institution.
Correct.
Even some of them may, some of them probably will.
Yeah.
But the reality is, you look at University of North Dakota hockey. You've got guys going to the NHL year in, year out. That's incredible. That's an incredible revenue generator for the institution, name, image, and likeness. And so I am worried. I think that I can only speak on behalf of the upper Midwest here.
Yeah.
But the USTA Northern section, which includes North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, and Western Wisconsin, does have a very tight-knit group that is supportive of college tennis and definitely really disappointed to see this. And so the community support is there, but it comes down to money.
Let me go back to one thing. We got a couple minutes left. From what your perspective is, especially when you were just in the collegiate game, are there still kids playing the sport? I think I know the answer, but you're the expert. Are there still high schoolers that want to go and do this at the next level?
There really are, Dom. I would argue it's not the tennis boom that the United States saw in the 70s, 80s, 90s, but pickleball has obviously gotten really big, and I'm a firm believer that tennis has reaped some of the benefits of that. You put a racket in somebody's hand or a paddle in somebody's hand, I don't care what sport it is, they're more naturally inclined to try another racket sport, including tennis.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing, in the Twin Cities metro, a lot of kids playing. In North Dakota, same thing. Obviously, talent ebbs and flows in each state, but the numbers are there, and it's a lifelong sport. I always grew up hearing my dad say, you can play this sport your whole life. I always thought it was kind of cliche, but then I realized as I got older, tennis is beautiful in that sense, not just because you can actually play the sport, but because you meet some really, really, really good people through it. You network through it. So many people meet their husband or wife through tennis. And so there is a unique sense of community around it. And I think that keeps drawing people to the sport at a young age. And, they stay involved or invested in some way, shape, or form for the rest of their life.
And this is a sport, I know you grew up with it, so you're in a unique spot, but it's one that you care passionately about, and it's right there with you. I'm really interested to see what other sports go. Like tennis, and this is no offense to the tennis crowd out there, people will see it and make, maybe an eyebrow raise, but if a volleyball program goes, or team decides baseball, and UND dropped baseball a decade ago, if that happens, then I think people will really wake up like, wait a minute, what's happening here, because the money is going to football and basketball?
That's a really good point, because, us tennis players, we like to be self-aware. Nobody's dishing out hundreds of dollars to go watch a college tennis match. However, there are a lot of people that care about college baseball in the United States of America, about college volleyball. And unfortunately, I wish no ill will upon any other sport, but when that starts to happen, I do, like you said, believe that more eyes will be raised. Because you have to go back, I sound old here, but the NCAA, in the minds of most, is the governing body to create the student athlete experience. And right now, student athlete experience means a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
This was great, man. I really appreciate you doing this. It's great to see you. Tell your pops I said hi. Be well, and we'll talk again down the road, okay?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Dom. Appreciate you.
Former Fargo South State champion, Concordia head coach David Young's joining us on, again, 6 tennis programs being eliminated over the last 2 weeks. And I read that, and then there's a story here. University of Illinois spent $20 million to build the largest scoreboard in college football. And I get it. I know it makes money. I know it's on, but at what expense are we doing it when, as the David said, we're eliminating the college experience there? And some universities are bloated. They have way too many sports, but didn't think. And Brad had the story with the amount of expenses that UND was spending on tennis. Combined, it was almost $1 million. Men spent $428,000. The women $600,000. So yeah, you're $100,000 there. $1 million there. So if you're looking at the bottom line and line item, hey, we can save $1 million and eliminate those two. Yeah, I can see why administrators would do that. But I mean, again, this is the thought of once the floodgates opened and there was no guardrails. You heard Richman say that in the previous segment of what we're going to spend our money on, that inevitably it was going to be football, certainly, and men's basketball. But football's so out here that the ones that don't make any money, cross country, golf, tennis, soccer, baseball to an extent, hockey, volleyball to an extent, like what happens there? And that, especially because all those are feeder programs to the U.S. Olympic teams. Tennis being one, golf being one, volleyball, soccer. If we're not having teams, it ain't good. Appreciate his time. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll put a bow on things for the week. Get you ready. Got a big playoff game tonight for the Timberwolves. See if they can go up in the series. And we'll get you out the door. Hot Mic wraps for the week right after this. All right. Wrapping up our coverage for the week. Back on Monday with our usual cavalcade of guests. We'll also have Big Sky Commissioner Tom Wistrcill will join us. He's part of the NCAA basketball men's committee on expansion. We'll also chat some football, inevitably, of course. We'll do that, so it's a good way to start the week. So make sure you join us on Monday. I know everybody does, but we'll be back better than ever on Monday. Let's get a couple emails in here before we say goodbye. Dom, haven't you learned that everything, no matter how insignificant, is political? And most people agree that politics suck. That goes back to our conversation off the top on NDSU and its potential for playoff eligibility. Another email comes in. Dom, I've been promoting common sense for years. One, on tournament expansion. It appears to do nothing for mid-majors. Common sense. How about a mid-major tournament? Issue solved. 2, on playoff eligibility. As soon as a team becomes a member of a new division, common sense would make it eligible immediately for the playoffs. What purpose does a waiting period serve? Issue solved. Assuming the buys will be eligible for the playoffs in football, it will support what my thought has been all along. Problem solved. Well, I appreciate it. I mean, he's got everything done. I mean, there we go. I wish it was that simple. Hopefully it will be, but it never is. Dom, you've seen Netflix is getting game 1 of the NFL season. Yeah, we didn't get time for that today. We talked about it, I think, earlier in the week. That has been confirmed, at least from various TV people that know what they're talking about, that the start of the season, the Australia game, to start the NFL season, and we'll get the NFL schedule, I imagine, next week, will be between San Francisco and the LA Rams in Australia on Netflix. So there you go, the start of the year. Say again? Oh, I thought I heard
the second
something.
Game of the season, because the Seahawks and whoever they play open on Wednesday night.
Oh, who cares? No one cares about those games anyway. Lastly, because that's NBC, I'm assuming, with Seattle in the NBC game. Fox has put out its college football schedule for Friday nights, which for people in this building be very interested to hear. Indiana's got one game on Fox, September the 25th at home against Northwestern. Nebraska at Illinois on November the 6th will be on Fox. I don't see a Golden Gopher game on here. The Mountain West Championship game will be on there, though. That'll be December the 4th, 8 o'clock on Fox. More on that over the weekend. Let's do some What to Watch before we get out of here. All right, tonight, here we go. Game 3, Wolves-Spurs, 8:30, Amazon Prime if you want to watch that tonight. Twins and Guardians, we'll see. Cory Provus at Reign. That's again on streaming on Apple TV. Game 3 with the Golden Knights and the Ducks, 8:30 on TNT. This weekend, the Wild play Game 3 tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. That's on TNT. Wolves Game 4 is in prime time. That's on NBC Sunday night at 6:30. Another signature PGA event, the Truist Championship in Charlotte. Final round on CBS begins at 2. We got to roll. Thanks to our guest today, to Cory Provus, to David Youngs, of course, to Dave Richman. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay on WDAY+. Thanks for joining us all week, everybody. We had some tremendous shows. Happy Mother's Day to my wife, Courtney, and to my mom. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you back here on Monday.